No, I don't like that angle. No. No, close. Okay, what if we sit here, angle like that with the sun coming through the back? One of those gotta work, right? One of those gotta work. Anyway, what's up, nerds? I missed you too. I missed you guys too. I know you missed me. I'm not gonna hold you captive though. I'm not gonna waste your time. We're gonna get right into the video. So first thing is first, we have a 2026 X5 M60 powered by a twin turbocharged V8 that produces at least 500 horsepower. I don't know the exact numbers. All I know is it's at least 500 horsepower. That's all you need to know. And it's pretty darn fast. This car has a retail price of $106,945. It's optioned in, yes, you guessed it, gray. They call this skyscraper gray. Out of all the grays, this is my least favorite. My favorite gray is Drabbit gray. Skyscraper gray reminds me of if I was driving through New York City and I looked at any building or any car or pavement. It's basically the same color as the pavement, and I don't like that. It's boring. It has no life. But again, this one's spared because first of all, it's the M60, the fast one with the V8. Second of all, it has the 22-inch wheels with the carbon ceramic brakes. Don't quote me, those are regular brakes, I'm sorry, they're regular brakes. I lied. They're regular brakes, I'm sorry, they're regular brakes, which is good for your pockets because carbon ceramics are more expensive to service and they pretty much give you nothing unless you're on the track. I don't just mean on the track once or twice a year, I mean on the track racing cars every single day. That's pretty much the only time carbon ceramics are even worth it. And still then, carbon ceramics are so expensive to service that you could probably realistically service your whole entire car. I'm talking 1, 2, 3, 4. You could probably do that all around 3 or 4 times and still have made out less than a carbon ceramic servicing, just to put it that way. But anyway, I'm gonna close the door here. So you can get a better angle. I'm gonna go around here and focus on the engine a little bit more. Just so you and I can be on the same page. I am here to discuss how these cars make you feel and the things that actually matter. So when it comes to torque specs and horsepower and drivetrains, tachometers, speed limits, power, I'll mention it because those things don't actually matter. They matter to an extent, yes. Unless you're pushing like 600, 700, 800 horsepower and your car has a better weight to power ratio than the X5, it doesn't really matter. And even then, at the end of the day, that stuff only matters on the spec sheet. What actually matters is how that 500 horsepower is managed. What actually matters is how that horsepower, how that torque, and how that drivetrain is tuned. What actually matters is how you feel when you get in the car, turn it on, and you drive. That's it. Other than that, back to it. This is a twin-turboed V8. What do you guys call this? I think the B58? Is this the B58? I don't know. I know BMW has like the B58, the E30, the E38, blah, 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 blah. Twin-turboed V8. Something I want to show you that's not just exclusive to the X5, probably across all the BMW's lineup is, I want to show you guys the positive and negative connect for the battery. I'll give you 3 seconds to find it. Yeah, so it's actually gonna be right here. Something that people on YouTube and Instagram and social media with cars like this don't tell you. There's little things like this that just make you really rethink if you actually want one of these things. That's your positive battery connect. And then this is your negative right here, right? So as you can see, you have no access to the battery. These cars are expensive to own. Let's just get that out of the way. Expensive to own, that's that, we're moving on. Well, let me reiterate real quick. My point is, if you can't see the battery, right? First of all, where is it? Where is it? And secondly, I bet if you tried to replace that battery yourself, it probably wouldn't go very well. That's just a guess. Second thing I observed is these headlights are beautiful. These headlights are beautiful. I like these headlights better than the X7 and the 7 Series. The 7 Series and the X7 both share pretty much the same headlight. They call these Sunshine X-Beam Moon Power Neon Lights. Just kidding. I don't know what they call them. Point is, they're cool, but I don't think you can replace the cool. We went over the engine, has 22-inch wheels, skyscraper gray. Headlights are nice. My favorite part of this car is the front grille. What I like to tell people about the X5 is that this is one of BMW's last remaining passion projects. I'm just sitting here so you can see just about how big, how massive, how angular and aggressive this front grille is. Yes, the shiny black plastic is disgusting. Doing that, why are we doing that? Why are we doing that? Why are we still putting plastic on cars? Why are we doing that? Why are we still 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 doing that? So here's my hand. Here's my hand, here's my hand, here's the grill. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's like 13 of my palms. I didn't count my fingers. That's like 13 Javante palms. Okay, grill covered, good. Hood, nice. I don't know what these lines are called. I need to do some research. The body lines are cool. They're continued on the hood throughout the side. My favorite part, aside from the grille, favorite element of design on the X5 is the wide body kit. The wide body kit, check that out. Front and the rear. Front and the rear. So the front is nice. I also like the rear. It just makes sense. The size of the rear window is proportionate with the bottom of the trunk. That's nice. You have some nice lines to break up the space here. And then the taillights aren't to die for, but they're also not horrible. The exhaust pipes are cool. There's 4 of them. I think all 4 of those are real. And the sound is quite good for factory, quite good for factory. Notice how I said good from factory, good for factory. Doesn't sound great, doesn't sound, you can't hear it from the street over, you can't hear, you know what I'm saying, that sort of thing. For OEM, sounds pretty good. Sounds pretty good. All right, who am I kidding? I know we all just want to see the trunk, so let's just get to it. Let's just get to it. Let's just get to it. So, of course, obviously, it's a $100,000 car. The trunk is automatic. Both portions are automatic, though. You can go in the infotainment screen and set it to automatically open just the top or both. If this were my car, I'd probably do both just to flex on whoever is next to me in the Walmart parking lot. So you have button on the bottom gate and button on the top gate. With this trunk, you get about 33.5 cubic feet, cubic foot, cubic feet, cubic feet, cubic feet, cubic feet, cubic meter, cubic feet, 33.5 feet of space. And that is with the rear seats up. If you fold the seats down, you get about 77 square feet of space. This is my backpack with all of my gear in it, and you could probably fit a whole lot more. You could definitely fit a whole lot more. I mean, honestly, you could probably throw the dumpster in here. 77.5 cubic feet with the rear seats folded down. You could realistically probably shove that dumpster in there and be fine. This is what it looks like if you actually do lower that bottom lip. Kind of looks like a greater than or equal to sign. And don't you worry, don't worry, there's a protective plastic coating down here. And if you lift this up, you can see like the raw metal, but they put some coatings over it. So it is perfectly sturdy. And yes, I did mention the actual measurements of the trunk. You are so welcome. However, I know none of you actually understand what that means. So this is me. I'm 5'9" with my shoes off, 5'10" at the DMV, and I'm 6 foot if a girl asks me on Instagram. As you can see, I fit in here about the waist up. So if you plan on storing bodies in here, you might have to fold the seats down, but don't worry, you can cover them up with this built-in trunk disguise. Unfortunately, I do not see an emergency trunk release in here. So if I was stuck back here, I would kind to be panicking just because it's not immediately visible unless I'm missing it. I don't see it. This car is brand new, so whatever's in the trunk comes from the factory. Let's just see what you get. Let's see what you get. So in here you've got, I'm gonna assume it's the owner's manual, driver's guide, owner's manual. Okay, that's what that is. And don't be surprised, a lot of the new BMWs don't come with a physical owner's manual, so that is a plus. Also, another, not even exclusive to BMWs, but a lot of new cars don't actually come with spare tires. So drum roll, please. Reminder, this car is $106,000. So, oh, look at that. You actually have a spare tire. You got the spare tire, you got the scissor jack, and then you got the tool. I promise I know how to use it. I just don't know what it's called. That's actually nice to see. That's very nice to see. And I'm not just saying that. I'm not just saying that. That is actually a welcomed addition. Isn't it pathetic that I have to say a spare tire is a welcomed addition? I feel like that pretty much sums up what I was about to say anyway. Let's go ahead and rate. So if I press this one, does it close both of them. Okay, they're smart. They're smart. So if you press this one, you can independently control it. That is nice. So this trunk is actually shaping up to be pretty satisfying. We're seeing a physical copy of your owner's manual, which they're phasing those out. You've got a summer set of floor mats, and you've got a spare tire, along with the grocery cover. So I feel like that is enough talking about the trunk. There's enough space back there. It's functional. We are going to actually get inside of the car. Now, I told you guys the color of the outside of the vehicle. However, I did not mention the interior color. The color is Tartufo, the kind of leather. They call it merino leather. Nonetheless, this interior is absolutely astonishing. You just rub your hand down that. Oh my God, that just feels nice. You know what that feels like? That feels like you ever, that is just nice. God, what do they put in this leather? Jesus, oh my God. Excuse me, I'm sorry. It's just this leather, seriously, this leather smells good, looks good, and feels good. Stitching is also nice. They do this cool pattern on the upper half of this seat that I really like, and they also add a BMW individual badge on the seat, just so if you don't know, now you know. Let's go ahead and step in here. What is it like to actually sit in here? What is it like to live with this? What is it like to be seated in the X5 M60? Something I want to point out to you guys is that the door panel, the controls and switches, very well thought out. I love this portion. I love what they did over here. I love it. The mirror switches are very nice, solid. I can tell that the input is being picked up. The trunk release is here. And then you have the window switches along with the window lock right underneath. Above that, obviously, is the door handle. There's this weird thing about the X5. The door handle is so satisfying to the pool that I just want to open the door for no reason. You know, I just want to, it just makes sense. It's well placed, unlike the X3. If you guys know, when you open the X3 door, you see how I can place my hand here and I can reach out and pull the door shut? Well, on the X3, there's no dip, there's no divot. It's all flat, and then it's too wide for anybody to get their hand like this either. So once you swing the door open, you gotta really throw yourself out there. I appreciate that I'm barely reaching out and I have a place to put my hand and I can just close the door. Yes, I am praising the fact that I can close the door in a $100,000 car. And to some, you might think that's a bit ridiculous. You might think that's standard. You might think that's something you don't think about until you spend a little bit of time around different manufacturers and you realize that sometimes things like this are overlooked. I gotta admit, it's getting hot in here, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn the car on. I'm gonna turn the AC to low, but this is the perfect time to talk about the 27-inch BMW screen that everybody loves. It's the same one that got adapted into the Kia K5 because the designer, I think it was the designer or the engineer that used to work for BMW, now works for Kia, or he did work for Kia at one time. Long story short, this is the same screen that inspired the screen in the K5. From edge to edge diagonally, it is 27 inches long, might even be larger than that. The screen is great. It's intuitive, but there's an asterisk. The asterisk is never in any car on earth should the climate controls be in the screen. Actually, it's fine if they're in the screen, but it's not fine if they're only in the screen. For example, in a lot of BMWs, and of course probably other cars, not just the X5, looking down here, you will notice there is not a physical knob for the fan speed. So say you're driving along doing your thing, you're getting a little hot, a little sweaty, you know, you got one hand on the wheel, maybe you got this hand on the wheel. Nobody does that though, it's always the left. And you just want to quickly, it's hot. Let me turn the fan speed up. Let me turn the fan speed up. Nope. This is what you have to do. If you're driving your $106,000 BMW X5 M60 and you just get a little hot, you have to go in the screen, press that fan, and the only way to control the fan speed is going to be right here with these arrows. But once you put the car into gear, or if you connect your phone, or if you do pretty much anything on the screen, the climate controls disappear. And yes, I give them credit for the bottom row. Overall, I give them credit for their infotainment system. I think the iDrive system is seriously one of the best smart driving, smart car interfaces in the market, on the market. I really do. I do. And this is just one of those spots where it's not an entire wreckage of the experience, but it is one of those things that could be fixed. And they haven't lost the plot entirely. There is still physical knobs to open and close the vents. So right now it's open, but if you twist it, that's gonna be closed. And of course, you just push it either direction for the change of airflow. And that's all across the board, here, here, and over there. That's cool. They've also improved throughout the years their ambient lighting. So they have it there, they have it in the floorboards, they have it in the cup holders, they have it on the door panels, in the rear. You can't see it, first of all, because the Sky Lounge is open, and I also don't have it set to the brightest setting. I didn't change that yet. But anyway, back to the screen. I give them credit for this. On either side, there's quick functions for your heated and ventilated seats and your heated steering wheel. Cool. And no matter what screen you go into, and no matter what you're doing on the screen, right, as you'll see, doesn't change. I know whenever I get in the car, the number one thing that I'm changing when it comes to climate, and you guys let me know, the number one thing I'm changing is my fan speed, especially, primarily, specifically in Ohio. That's just one little thing. If I could recommend anything to the BMW X5 design team, it would be that. Just give me a physical knob to control the fan speed, and you can do the rest in the screen. Everything else can stay in the screen. I don't care. If anybody from corporate at BMW is listening, please, 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 just add a physical knob for the fan speed. I gotta be honest, I do have to speed this up a little bit. I'm taking too long. I'm taking forever. Let's go on a speed tour of the X5. So, door panel, nice. Leather color, beautiful. Buttons and switches are premium. Steering wheel is a perfect size with the iconic colored BMW stitching, as well as the M Sport badging. Another thing that I applaud BMW for is the design of the steering wheel. Mainly the size of the steering wheel and the button placement. The left-hand side is obviously going to be your adaptive cruise control and or assisted driving technologies. That'll be all over here. The right side is going to be your media controls. And I will admit, there's one thing I don't like about this, and that is the volume up, down doesn't really give a satisfying measure of incremental change, if you get what I mean. So basically what I mean is, when you click it, it doesn't really correlate to the screen over here. And that's the only thing that's kind of annoying. Overall, cabin design, cabin feel is really, really good. Another thing that BMW does very well is their rear view mirror design. And what do you mean by that, Javante? I'll tell you. So you have 3 programmable garage door buttons, so 1, 2, and 3, and BMW just makes it so easy. You'll see that orange light flashing. This orange light will stay blinking pretty much until you have time to run along, go up on your garage door motor, press the set button, come back down and pair it. Or here's where they really shine. If you have a garage door opener that's already programmed, you can just hold the button, let the garage door fully cycle. So if it's all the way open, let it close all the way. If it's all the way closed, let it open all the way. And then by the time it's done doing one of those, the light will turn green and then boom, you're good to go. Center console. Probably the thing that's won my heart over the most is the center console. When I first started living and working around BMWs, I saw this and I got overwhelmed. So for a regular person or someone that's not really a BMW customer, when you first get in the car, the gear selection is pullback once for drive, 2 pullbacks for sport mode, a push forward for reverse, and then I'm gonna get real close. This is considered a half push. And a half push either way from a gear gets you into neutral. The engine start stop button is satisfying to push. It gives you some nice feedback. Underneath that is your electronic parking gear, and below that is your electronic parking brake. Something else that BMW does really good is this knob here. This knob is very convenient because, as you'll notice, this is about a natural hand placement as you're driving. Obviously, I'd have a hand here, but other than that, this is pretty much almost similar to what you'll find yourself doing. And instead of reaching to the screen, which feels like a moon's length away from you, you can just rest your hand here where previously the gear selector would be, and you have constant access, constant control over the screen. So that is pretty nice. Okay, enough about that. You get the point. I know you all are like, oh my goodness, why aren't you mentioning the carbon fiber? There's carbon fiber innards and you haven't even mentioned that. There's carbon fiber and merino leather. The reason I'm not mentioning the carbon fiber is because contrary to TikTok, carbon fiber is overpriced, and it especially does not belong, at least to me, does not belong inside of the car anywhere. I don't hate it. It could be worse, but it's just there. It doesn't really matter to me. It's cool. If I were to option this car, I'd do some matte finished innards. So I went in and I turned the ambient lighting to the max brightness setting, and I also changed it to green. It still doesn't really matter though, because it's extremely bright. It does give you a barely better vision of what it could look like in the nighttime though. So it's here, there, and underneath the glove compartment. Since we're already looking over here, you'll see that where the tweeter sits right there, almost ear level, it says Harman and Kardon. It does, it says Harman and Kardon. And for those of us that don't know, I am what some would call an audiophile. Excuse me. That is one of the proudest elements I've found in the BMWs. The Harman and Kardon stereo system, it is just, it's so good. I'm gonna sit here, I'm gonna turn it on, and we're gonna listen together, but still, it's not gonna do you any justice. It's gonna do me some justice. YouTube doesn't like copyright music, so yeah. Hop on when we shop, I had to tell her grab more. That pussy expensive, I'm ready to make that payment. That's what you bad for.
The cabinet shit on the blog, they think I'm a bum, but fuck that shit. Tell me if it's true, but that's not new. Every time they went and tried to send me some man down. I don't know where I would be today if I never went and took a chance. I'd be on my own shit.
It passed the sophisticated gangster stereo test, but all in all, the X5 M60 is a sweet car, sweet car. I can't get any driving portions right now just because we gotta cut this one short, but there will be more videos. My thoughts are, I think this over the Lamborghini Urus, of course, and I do think it is a fair competitor. Obviously, it's probably not as fast, but I think it's just as fun, and it's probably slightly more luxurious. That being said, thanks for watching. The next car, I don't know what it's gonna be. Hopefully it'll be a little smoother, but that's it. Have a good day. What you want? I'm making my video. You gotta create excitement. The weirdos get rich. 80,000 views dancing like that.